Hey everybody, it is episode 329.
It's Dad's Survival Guide to Summer. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Prime Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Skip Wyss, and as always, I have Dr. Julie Wyss with us here today. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You're looking nice and blue and very pretty.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, that's if you went with the
We're talking boys.
Yeah, we are
so
talking
blue.
boys. And denim, dungarees, Buddy Lee. You remember him?
Yeah, the Buddy
You
dolls.
remember Buddy Lee, the Buddy dolls?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like old Buddy Lee and his dungarees. Lees.
Mine had blonde hair.
I had some dungarees.
It doesn't. I still have some Oshkosh Bigoshes.
Overalls?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. So do I. When we dressed up as Mario, but mine were really stiff. So let's talk about Dad's Survival Guide this summer. We just finished up talking about Mom's Survival Guide, and I thought about this with you, and I was like, you know what, we should really do a Dad's Survival Guide. This wasn't just planned where it was Mom and then Dad, but this is a good thing because dads need to know how to survive summer too. It's one of those things where summer can turn into a roller coaster for both parents. Most people will say that summer should slow down, but summer actually speeds up. And for most people, from Memorial Day to Labor Day, that is a very fast 12 weeks.
Well, and I think because we try to get all of our kids into sports or summer activities, maybe they do like a summer rec or park program.
Right.
We try to squeeze in, summer trips or like road trips to go visit places, the sightseeing. So it's at the grand scheme of things, when you look at it, when it's only just a couple of weeks, it can feel like it's crazy chaotic, and summer means to be able to relax and lay back, and sometimes it can be more intensive in the summertime than it is actually during the school year.
Yeah, typically by the end of summer, moms are dying for the school year to start, and so are dads. Just dads aren't really talked about, and the reason why is because most dads, and this is not anything to start a fight with women, but most dads are working, so they're working usually 8 to 5. And then they get home. Moms are usually thought of more being home during the summer. So dads kind of get looked past. But what happens then is dads become the weekend guy, right? Is we become the person that takes over the weekend or is expected to take over the weekend or expect things to do.
So you said that dads are the weekend dads.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any tips for, let's start with the weekend, for dads to easily or better handle the weekend with the kids?
Yeah, I think that to start out, men, number one, a lot of guys will shoot from the hip. So they'll try to just figure out how to get their kids outside. I find doing projects with kids works better. So I would think that most dads should start with some sort of project that summer. Like start the summer off early with a project, or like whether it's even something as simple as like if you do woodwork, like making bird houses, bird feeders, doing things that are outside that make your kids think. Like teach them how to use tools, teach them how to use table saws and different things that can help both sexes. So you can teach a girl how to do woodwork too. You can teach a girl how to change her own oil. You can teach a woman how to change her own tire. I think these are all skills that dads should actually be doing during the summer to take time to teach their kids, because these are things that we take for granted. Like these are things that I was taught when I was a kid. And then you forget that, oh crap, like I need to pass this down to my child because it was passed down to me. I've just been doing it since I was 16. Like I've been changing oil in my car since I was 16. And up until the last, 12 years, something like that, I changed the oil all the time in our cars. Now I just have somebody else do it for me.
And I think that brings like really great conversation as well, is like you're learning the trade.
Yeah.
But it's that nonchalant in the conversation that happens. So that sounds like, for the weekends for woodworking and oil changing, that's a little bit older for those kids. What about for like itty bitty babies or the toddlers? Because I think it's usually during the toddler years that sometimes for a dad, sometimes if they're not home a lot, it's kind of like, here, honey, take the
Yeah.
child. And that's where it's kind of like, okay, I don't know what to do. Do you have any suggestions for those ages?
Yeah, I think, again, it's coming back to, if we look at them when they're really, really little, right? Is what can we do to eliminate things from mom or take away from mom's stress? Most dads, we constantly think of our wives and we want to make sure our wives are comfortable. But what we need to look at is when they're really, like when babies are really little, is how can I even give my wife 30 minutes to an hour break, some sort of reprieve? But then what can I do with my child? See, a lot of dads, they don't really look forward to interacting with their child for the first year because they're not going outside, kicking balls around. You know, there's a lot of dads that are sports dads that are like busy physical dads, and some dads aren't. But even the dads that aren't, like your child can't sit and play video games either. You know, so what can you do with them? When they're little like that, I'd say strap them on and take them on walks.
That's what I was thinking.
Bond time with your kid. So go outside, wear your baby. That during the summer will help you so much, is learning how to wear your baby, have them in the Mobies, the different wraps that your wife can actually take time and show you how to wrap your baby up. But then you get time to be a dad with your baby. And what dads have to really hold space for is to understand that their patience is way shorter than their wives or than moms. And because the mom has been around the baby so often, they're used to how the baby acts. They're used to the baby being maybe a little bit more worked up in the afternoon or a little bit more tense. And most dads don't have the patience for that because they're not around it all the time. So their patience runs thin. And that's where that can actually cause a pretty good rift in the relationship. We're going to be like, I don't understand why you overreact all the time. And it's not that dad's overreacting. He's just not used to the baby being the way the baby is because he's around him a very limited time. And if you look at when dads get home at night, typically if dad gets home between 5 and 6, which here in Northeast Wisconsin, that's kind of that time when men get off of work and women too. But even women and families, like you get home, you have an hour, maybe 2 hours with your kids, and your kids are probably already starting the bedtime routine and going to bed. The nice thing is in the summer is that we have these longer nights where the kids don't have to get up for the school in the morning or they don't have to go to daycare at 7 a.m. So we can take that time then and kind of stretch that evening out a little bit and spend more time and grow more patience.
Is there anything that, as prepping for the weekends or for those ages, that you would think would be beneficial for the wife or the mother to appropriately assist or to make it super successful? So it's not such a challenge.
She can bring the snacks.
Okay, snack mom.
Yeah, like that too a thing for a dad. If you're not used to being snack dad, like that's hard. That literally trying to tell a guy to plan meals or try to tell a guy to plan snacks, he's going to grab simple things. And sometimes the most simple things aren't the most healthy. Like they'll just go grab a couple granola bars and 2 bottles of water. Or they'll grab like the can of puffs. And the thing is that if dad grabs those cans of puffs and he hasn't checked in with mom or his spouse, he might get his ass chewed because he didn't grab what he should have grabbed. So do that work for him. Take his little bit of anxiety out of it because he knows that if he grabs the wrong thing, it may not fare well for him.
So I think, as we're talking about this, we want each other to be super successful. So instead of like throwing your child at your hubby, and saying, hey, good luck, let's actually prep him for success. So then the next weekend when he's at home again, then he's going to be more apt to say, hey, you know what? I'll take the baby. So ladies, we just need to prep our significant others, get the snacks, show them, if we prep the snacks ahead of time, but then show them how much fun it can be with our kids. And I think weekend after weekend, then it's going to become more natural for the dad, for the father to want to do something with the kids rather than watching them struggle and say, hey, it's not so easy, is it?
The worst thing that can happen is if you've had a really long day during the summer and you can't get your kids outside. So let's say it's a rainy day, and then dad gets home from work. The worst thing you can do is just give your kids to your son and give your kids to your spouse and say, okay, your turn, and just walk away, because he doesn't know what just happened. And he may be coming home to an absolute tornado storm. And if you take 5 minutes and at least just debrief him and say, hey, I need you to take the kids now because it's been one hell of a day. Most dads out there are going to be like, oh, okay. They're going to want to know what happened, number one. But then number two is, all right, let me take them. Let me figure this out. Because if it's been something where the kids have been rambunctious all day, as dads, you got to figure out a way to decompress your kid. Like decompress them. So what I would do, I would take your kids and leave again, but then go somewhere where you can get a lot of exercise. So take them to maybe an open gym. Like here in Green Bay, we have the Croc Center. We have these different areas. I mean, even take them to the mall and let them run around. Like let them get their energy out because they just drove your spouse or mom nuts. So then allowing mom then to decompress, take time for herself, and kind of, because most women, I don't know, but most of it seems like you all you need is 30 minutes to an hour. That's really what it seems like. Like if you can just have that little bit of time to recoup and re-energize, you guys re-energize really fast versus men take a long time. It seems like, and that's just speaking from my experience. It seems like you can re-energize fairly quickly. Where when I'm done, I'm like kind of mentally done. It's different for men. But then men, to stay alive here during the summer as well with your kids, is you need to be really open with your spouse too. Like, and call her on your way home, call mom on the way home and say, hey, today was a crazy day at work. I want to tell you about it now before I get home. And that's a big thing too, is if you want to survive during the summer, don't bring your work home on the weekends. Have that set for your family and have that time set aside so. So then also dads, like I would look at it too, like if we're going to be planning, like a lot of people, their summers come down to a big trip, usually in August. And I would encourage you to do it early, not late. Like take that family trip in June or July. Don't take it in August. Why? Because August becomes slammed with things. August is always busy. People generally aren't getting married in June. They get married in July and they get married in the fall. So June is kind of that buffer month where you've got time to go do stuff a little bit, because people's Julys is because you got the 4th, and then as soon as the 4th hits, it gets busy, and then they get into what they call the dog days of summer of August, which is what's just hot and it sucks. But people see that as a boring time, but what they don't realize is that school starts in 4 weeks. And your spouse, mom, is already ramping for school. She's bought school supplies come August 1st already. July 31st, you guys are looking at school supplies. You're looking at clothes. You're looking at outfits, backpacks, trying to get things together for September because right after Labor Day, things are going to hit. So dads, I would encourage you to talk to your spouses and say, hey, let's take that trip a little bit earlier this year, because then you can actually enjoy it and not think of what's coming. And yes, sports is a big deal, but I know your kids are on traveling baseball teams. I know your kids are on traveling softball teams. Those are the main sports in soccer in the summer. But guess what? Your child can miss 2 games at some point. That's not going to mess up their high school career, their college scholarships, the chance of them going pro. Like, that's not going to mess it up. But you can really mess up your relationship with your wife if you didn't handle the trip properly.
And I think when we're talking about trips, just keep in mind as well that it's usually selfishly yourself that wants to do this big to-do, like this huge, big, really big trip. And a lot of times our kids just want to have that time. And so by taking that trip earlier in the summer, there's still a little bit of, like when they're school-age children, there's still a little bit of routine to them.
Yep.
So we haven't pushed the bedtime back really late. The eating habits aren't all wrecked because we're not that far into summer. And so you're going to have that to be able to kind of go back to, of just to kind of have that routine. So then as you go on the trip and, then that's where then you can slowly start that leniency and talk about different things with your kids and just really get to enjoy it rather than at the end of the end of the summer when everybody's exhausted.
Yeah, and that's, we just did a survival guide for taking trips. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny how this is all kind of matched up. But again, even on the trips with Dad, like getting things a little bit planned out, like just taking time and kind of getting a basic outline will help out those trips. And it's going to help out the summer as well. And summer does get really busy. Summer does get crazy. And sometimes staying home is just as much fun. And you don't take a week off and stay home. Like people take a week off and travel. Take a week off and stay home once. Like just be able to enjoy your house if you like it. Mm-hmm. And like we love our house. We love where we live. We really enjoy being home. That's actually why we bought the house we have. And it's because we want to be home and enjoy it. And sometimes it's just nice to be home for a week and not have to worry about things. Little bit more tough if you're self-employed or own a chiropractic office, but those are the type of things.
But you have to think about if you're going to be staying home, then it's not the laundry. It's, then you get to treat yourself to the ice cream maybe a little bit later than, when it's bedtime. Or think of the money that you'd be spending if you'd be going out to restaurants. And what are those little gems or things that have popped up that you've been wanting to go to? So then, figure out and do those things together as a family and really get to explore your community. Because I think so many times like we overlook what's truly right in our locations, in our hometowns of where we live, and we're always sightseeing and going other places, and we have stuff super close to home.
Yeah, and being right where we're at. Mm-hmm. Here's a pro tip, guys. Last thing is make an effort at planning out meals for the summer for your wife and for your spouse. And that will carry over then into the fall and into the winter when everything is kind of back to normal and school kicks in. But take time to actually think about meals. And if you can take 2 to 3 meals off of your spouse's plate, it makes a big difference. It really does. Like when we take time and meal plan and at least lay out a menu for the week, it makes things a lot easier than
it's
just
not
knowing
usually
that Tuesdays
nobody
for
wants to cook. It's nobody knows what they want to eat, which is the big struggle. And that doesn't change. That's no matter what age, right? And so sometimes if it's do that together as a family or have the kids involved with that. And again, sometimes like meals summertime, it's lots of snacks, lots of times. Yep. So of always just making sure in the fridge that you have those snacks easy, washed up, ready to go. That just makes it then spur of the moment you can grab those things to be able to head out the door and know that you have good healthy food options for you and the kids.
And lastly, become a little bit spontaneous. That's right. Spontaneity actually helps out a lot. So on Saturdays, take time, go to the farmer's market, do something with your family, and then do something spontaneous, like go on a bike trip, go hiking, go do something, get out in nature when the weather's really great and just enjoy it and get your kids exposed to as much of it as possible. And then that way they'll make those memories. The kids kind of make the memories based on what they found fun versus going to like Mount Rushmore. Is it like, what I mean? Like I went to Mount Rushmore in 7th grade with my mom and dad. I remember 2 things the whole time, and none of them bring a smile to my face.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, but it's...
I don't share that same memory.
Like those big events that at times they don't stay with your kids versus
but
just
you remember
small
the
things.
Corn Palace?
I just remember the outside of it.
That was the ideal.
That was... You know what I mean?
And the wall drug bumper sticker.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I do remember the OK Corral cookout. That I remember. That's it. I think if I went back and saw Mount Rushmore again, it'd be a whole new experience to me because it's just so much
road
different.
Trip.
So road trip. So I hope you guys like this one. I hope you enjoyed it. This one's a little bit different because we talked about it from a dad's perspective. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Julie got to ask me questions, which
I tried.
Can't be the easiest at times, I'm sure. So, all right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Go out, have an amazing week. Share this to as many people as possible, and maybe shoot this in one of your friends' inboxes that's a dad that could use a little help. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.